everybody. Welcome to the Hustling Sideways podcast. I'm Alan Hallis. I'm a music writer.
And I'm Jim Love, and I'm a keynote and motivational speaker, and we are back. It's good to be
We are
back.
back. Yes. If you didn't notice, of course, we took a week off in between shows. Something a little important happened in the Jim Love household. Well, you tell him. I don't have to
That's
tell him.
correct. Yes, we welcomed a baby girl last week, and now
Hey.
we're back at it. Here we are, all good. And yeah, I'll be at Alan's in a little bit in due time. But in the meantime, it's way easier to just come in the living room and jump on a show. But yeah, it was um, gosh, what was it? Tuesday, October 7th, and
Yeah.
that was the date. And now we're rolling. So all good to go, and tired, but ready to rock.
I think we literally recorded our last episode the day before,
We
and then
did.
the next day was like the day.
We were going
Um,
in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So immediately I was like, oh, well, this is going to be a complete change in things.
That's
And
great.
then I didn't really feel like I wasn't going to text you and be like, hey, man, congratulations, but dot, dot, dot. We need to get an
We
episode
need
out
to
on
get a
Monday.
show. Yeah. So I
Yeah. Yeah.
initiated the text instead of Alan, so he didn't feel as bad. No, that
Yes.
was good. It worked out.
For sure. So exciting things happening in the Jim Love household as well. But then exciting things happening in Hustling Sideways world too, because we've got a great guest today here on the show. Today, our guest is calling in from the East Coast. We've got Joe Mindak. He is the co-founder of Nolodex. So welcome, Jim, or welcome, Joe. Excuse me. Well, Jim, you're welcome as well.
Thank you.
But
Yeah.
welcome, Joe, to the podcast.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Congrats, Jim. That's is that your
Thank you.
first?
Yeah. First one.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are empty nesters officially. About
Awesome.
2 months ago, my daughter is off to college, and
Oh my
my
gosh.
son's already a junior. So my wife and I are actually going out to dinner tonight. No,
That's right. It's just
so
a
it's like,
constant party now, I would
oh, it's
imagine.
been a totally different world. We're like, the first week it was like a Thursday night. I'm like, my wife, you want to go dinner tonight? She's like,
Maybe
yeah,
I
we
will.
could do
Yeah.
that again. So you only got 18 more years to get there now, Jim. But
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna
it'll be
say,
fun.
Jim, now you got 18 years of buffer time to think about a
That's right. I
restaurant you
got
want to
something to
go
look
to.
forward to.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Some good place that's gonna be open 18 years from now. I like that.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
There's a
Well,
McDonald's always open. That's kind of
yeah.
my
yeah, there
rule.
you go. There you go. Who
Well,
knows by that
congrats
point?
again. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Joe, so tell us a little bit about your background. Of course, we talk about side hustles and businesses and things like that. But let's get a little bit of background on you, just kind of where you grew up and kind of were you always an entrepreneurial person growing up?
Well, it's interesting. I didn't think about this till we just now about side
Mhm.
hustle. I'd always done side hustles. So I grew up in New Jersey. I wound up going to school in Ohio, University of Dayton, and my daughter's there now at my alma mater, so pretty excited. And I love the Midwest, but being a Jersey guy, East Coast, Midwest people back then didn't have fake IDs, right? Like,
Mhm.
True.
and so I get to Ohio and I'm like, I got a fake ID, and everyone in my dorm's like, you have a fake ID? I'm like, you don't have a fake ID? It was like this weird dichotomy, like, yeah. So my first side hustle was buying beer for the dorm, right? So
There you
I
go.
would go up to Kramer's and I had my fake ID. I would go down the hall, Alan, what do you need? Give me a 12 pack of Milwaukee's Best Light. All right, $5. Cost me 350. Jim, what do you need? I need a case of Milwaukee's Best Light, and there's always Milwaukee's Best. All right, $10. It would cost me seven. And literally, I'd show up with 10 cases of beer, and I was the first dorm on the first floor in the back of the dorm. Like we just had to
Oh,
go up
perfect.
one floor right in our room. And my roommate loved it because we wound up with like three free cases of beer every beer run. So that was my first illegal
That's right.
uh,
Yes, and you got to
entree.
start somewhere. I appreciate that
Yeah, you
hustle
got to
because that's
start
important.
somewhere.
College
And I
students
never
need to get their filling. I appreciate that.
exactly. So that was my first entree into entrepreneurship, I guess, if you look back at it. So, and yeah, I had no, desire to own a business or anything. I was going to be a teacher, really. I was an education major,
Mm.
and then I just got involved in college. I was always involved in high school. I was the vice president of the class. I was in, a bunch of different organizations and sports and stuff. And then in college, I joined the Big Brothers program. I joined the Residence Hall Association. I joined all these different things. I was vice president of fraternity. I just like being involved, right? And
Mm.
being involved with those organizations is like running a business. So I kind of got those business chops by, learning how to do things on the job in those roles. And then by the time I got out of college, I was kind of like, I really want to teach, but I really want to make some money because I have a really good resume. My all my fraternity brothers like copying my resume and adding the stuff that I did onto their resume. I'm like, yeah, man, take it, you know. Um, but I couldn't get a sales job in New York, right? I went back to New York, back to Jersey, and no one would hire me because I didn't have a year experience doing
Mhm.
sales. I'm like, besides my selling a beer in a dorm, that didn't count.
Right.
Um, so my dad had a printing company. It was just a one-man shop, my dad, and my mom was like, "Listen, your dad would love you to work for him." And I was like, I didn't go to college to sell printing. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but like I was thinking like a big office in the city selling whatever, and
Mhm.
but I
Hmm.
needed my year, so I went and worked for my dad for a year. It was me and him, and at the end of the year, I was like, why would I go sell for Jim Love and make 10% or whatever I sell? When me and my dad could just sell our own stuff and make all the money. Like it was so foreign to me to be like, why am I giving, I'm not going to give that guy all, So I convinced my dad and we took out a $50,000 loan to buy bigger equipment, right? Because my dad was doing like letterheads and business cards and stuff like that, a lot
Sure.
of volume, but to really sell, larger, higher ticket
Mhm.
items, make more money. So we bought 50, took out a loan of $50,000, put up a shop in Hackensack, New Jersey, and bought a bunch of equipment we had no idea how to use, and then filled it in with people that knew how to use it, and then went out and started selling stuff that I had no idea how to sell, right? So I remember the first really big print job I did. I was in the city with my client Maria, and it was like this pocket folder that was like an octopus. It like folded this way, it folded that way. Then it came down from the top, and the X's had it was WebEx was a thing
Oh,
in the city. The X's had to cross over. And she's like, "You guys take care of this?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is something right up our alley." I ran back and it was like, went to the other guy, like, "Do you know how to do this?" And he's like, "Yeah." So, I just sell and I knew how to make, relationships, which is what it's all about. And so we went from a $250,000 print shop to a $3 million marketing company in the course of about 3, 4 years.
Wow.
Just, we grew with, okay, we could print your material, your brochure, but I was like, "Hey, Alan, who designs that for you?" "Oh, Jim Love Creative." "Okay, well, I could do it." And I didn't know
huh.
how to design either, so I started designing brochures, and it just grew into a marketing company. And then my dad retired. He's like, "I don't know what's going on here anymore. I don't know how to use computers," and it worked out great. So my dad retired, and I just kept running the company for 20 years and turned it into about a $3 million company. We had about 35 employees at one point, yeah, so that's kind of how I got
That's
into that, and then it
that's
just
great.
kind of blossomed
Yeah,
from there.
I'm
Yeah.
curious. Like putting myself in your dad's shoes. Did he have any hesitations to like this vision that you? I mean, because I'm sure he was doing the same thing for a long time, and then suddenly
Yeah,
shifting. What was that conversation like?
he
What
had no desire to. So, the problem was my dad did really well. Like but
Mhm.
he had no overhead. Like, I mean, zero. How about
It's just him.
he was in
Okay.
a shop with his buddy Gus, who owned a big printing shop. My dad had like a room this size with like two little printing presses because he was doing like envelopes and stuff.
Mhm.
And
Right.
he bought those presses for like $200 each, and he was just cranking money. Like he did
Hmm.
great, but then Kinko's came out and computers came out. And you could literally print your invoice off on your printer, or you could go to
Yeah.
Kinko's and print out 1,000 letterheads for $30 instead of $250, right? So,
Mhm.
so he had no overhead, he had no electricity, everything was done because if he got a bigger print job, he would give it to Gus. So that's kind
Mhm.
of how he paid his rent, kind of thing. "Oh, I got a $10,000 job I can't handle. You do it." Gus's secretary, either even answered the phone for my dad. So
Oh my
so
gosh.
now I'm like, let's take out a loan off your house and let's go rent a place for $3,800 a month and electricity. So yeah, it was. He actually said no. And
Really?
we went to the city. I found a print shop for sale in New York
Yeah.
City on like the 10th floor of a building, but it was the landlord selling it. The print shop went out of business, and there was an ad in
Okay.
the paper. I mean, I'm 52. I'm not as old as I look with this gray hair, but I'm 52. So I saw an ad in the paper, something $1,000 for this whole print shop. And
Hmm.
my dad's
Wow.
like, "No, I don't want to do it." I'm like, and
Come
then
on,
I
man.
finally
Yeah.
convinced him, and I called.
Literally a golden opportunity. Yeah.
Oh my God! And I called the guy the next day, and he's like, "You're too late. Someone else came,
Oh
or
yeah.
someone's coming tomorrow." And I was like, and I think at that point, my dad was like, "Shit! Like, what did I just do? Like, entire print shop for $1,000." Um, and the landlord's like, "I'll call you if anything happens." He called me back a day later, and I was like, the guy showed up with a check. And he told him to get the hell out of here because the landlord's pocketing $1,000. I ran to the bank. My dad realized, okay, this was a sign. And so took
Hmm.
$1,000 out. I drove to the city, handed the cash to the guy. And then it cost us about 10 grand to get the equipment out of here, out of
Yeah.
there. That's the guy didn't want to spend the money to get the equipment out. So he's like,
Hmm.
Right.
"Cool stuff, give me $1,000, but you guys got to get out of there." So he was very hesitant. And look, it was, like any business, it was tough at the start, like trying to get new business. And now we have to pay all this money and sell. But luckily, my dad and I were both sales guys. Like we just went out and hustled
Yeah. And
uh,
Yeah.
I know like some of the experiences you were just talking about, like figuring things out, as they came up, that takes a level of courage and tenacity that not everyone has. Did you find yourself struggling to be like, that's the thing I do now, and here we go? Or did that come pretty natural as people started giving,
yeah,
new
like
business ventures for
when you're that young, you're just young and dumb and don't care, and you're just
you?
like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just sell, well, I'll keep selling, and that was my thing. I could do this. I'm just gonna go out and hustle, 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 and figure
Mhm.
out as we go, right? Like that job with Maria, like I had no idea if we could even do this thing, but you just say yes and you go. And I think, I just had no fear because and look, I was living at home.
Mhm.
My dad would give me $20 and I'd go to the Orange Lantern with my buddy Ray, and that was, beers for $2. Like, I didn't need a lot, so I
Yeah.
didn't care, right? And I think even through my 20s when I moved to Hoboken, and my rent was only $300. So I was making like $300 a week. So
Mhm.
I just didn't, I didn't have a lot. I didn't have a wife and kids and family like I know. But so like when you're young, you could do that stuff and you don't care. So and yeah, you just figure it out. Figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
Same with this,
Totally.
the what we have now. Like I didn't plan on building a software company. I'm the least techie guy there is. Like I'm lucky I can log on to our software, let alone own a software company. But it just kind of came along with, like when we were doing printing first, and I'm like, oh, we should do design. And also the websites came out. Well, we should build websites. Let me go find someone that knows how to build websites. I didn't know how
Mhm.
to build
Right.
websites. I just hired a kid that, yeah, hey, Jim, you know how to build websites? I do. Okay, you're hired. Cool.
Come on in.
Here's
Yep.
someone who needs a website. So
Yeah.
yeah, you just got to
Yeah.
fill it in. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool about that too is like you said, like learning those things on the fly as they go. But you also seem to be somebody that recognizes opportunity pretty early on,
Mhm.
especially in the case of like new things evolving and things like that. New, like you said, websites came along and you figured out what to do there, how to, what do we need to do to get our name on that? How do you make some money on that? So I
Right.
think that's super commendable to be able to recognize an opportunity because that's something that really every businessman needs. I think every entrepreneur definitely needs is to find out where there's opportunity and how do they best capitalize on that sort of thing. Let's talk a little bit about Nolodex though and how that idea came about because I'm sure that there's a transition there from marketing into the next thing. Like when did this start to become
Yeah.
an
So
idea?
yeah, I mean, it just, something I was doing all along. So I was always connecting people. I was always a networker, right? And I just wrote a book came out last week, Connectors Get Paid. So I just
Mhm.
helped build a referral network, right? So I sold the marketing agency after 20 years. I sold the magazine and I was starting two other companies, right? For me, it was like find a niche, like you're talking about, find something someone's not doing. So I had two other ideas that I had an idea in the wedding industry. I launched a site, I trademarked, and that was out and it's still up and running. But people kept calling me, Joe, I need this, Joe, I need that. And I was like, all right, Jim, well, what do you need? I don't do websites anymore, but Alan does. And I wound up like referring $100,000 deal to somebody. I've told this story a million times. And I
Yeah.
called the guys back. I'm like, hey, you guys hate selling, right? You want to build websites, you want to do logos. I love selling. How about I bring you more business? And like, yeah, that's awesome. And I'm like, all right, just pay me a straight commission. So it's
Hmm.
like, I was always connecting people. I'm like, maybe I can make some money off of this. So I got about a dozen agencies, asked them if I bring them business, they pay me commission. I made like $85,000 in commissions that year. And
Wow.
Wow.
that's where it was like, wait a
This
second.
is
Hey,
something.
talk about a side hustle. Like I didn't even know I was doing it. Like I was just, oh, Jim, you need something? Yeah, call Alan. I was like, all right, let me call
Mhm.
you guys. And like 2 months later, I get a check in the mail for $2,500. I'm like, all right, cool, put that in that account. And I was literally just, I had this side account that I was throwing this money in, and I had like a couple small deals for like $250 a month, $400 a month, social media stuff that was going on. I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, and at the end of the year, I went to the account. He's like, do your taxes. All right, let me pull out this account. I pulled out all the statements, and kept adding up and adding up and adding up. I'm like, holy shit, 85.
What's going on here?
Where did this money come from, right? And that was like, wait a second. Talk about, like you said, Alan, right? Finding something, be like, wait a second. I know there's other people like me. I'm not the only connector out there. Like
Yeah,
there's other people
Yeah.
like me. So I got a bunch of connectors. Like, hey, Alan, Jim, Sarah, Jake. Like, why don't we all help each other? Let's all.
yeah,
And you get a deal, Jim. Pay into the pot. Alan was the
yeah,
one to introduce you. He'll take half. I'll take half. And that was it.
yeah.
It was a simple idea. And now that turned into, our group, our beta group from that 20 people,
Yeah.
we have 550 B2B companies all over the country that use Nolodex, our software, because we built the software because I didn't have anything to track all these deals, right? I was using
Hmm.
Excel file. Then I tried one software, I tried another software, nothing worked. And we're like, let's build our own software, which a lot of companies do. Hey, we need something to handle everything we're doing. Let's build it. And we built it, and we built it as a SaaS model to license it to other communities to say, hey, whoever else wants to make a side hustle out of their network, right?
Hmm.
We've all been building these networks for years, right? We all have 100, 200 good friends, colleagues, people that we're always referring business to. Put them all on the platform. And every time a deal goes through, Jim, if you're the community owner, you get a cut of the deal. You should be, right? You put all these people together, and then the
Hmm.
people that are on there, they should be getting a little cut. Alan introduces you to head of marketing, and you're a digital marketing agency, and you get a $250,000 contract. Alan should get something for that, right? So
Yeah.
that's what we're putting together, right? I think you guys both went to Marquette, right? You guys know each other from Marquette.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
So like when someone's like, hey Jim, I noticed you're connected to Alan on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
You know him? Yeah, I mean, we've been together. We went to
Happens all the time.
hey,
Yeah.
can
I was
you
gonna say we just recently did this. Honestly, we
Hmm.
literally just did. Jim was gonna go to
For work. Yeah. A
a
conference.
conference,
Hmm.
and it was somebody that was somebody I went to high school with.
Yeah.
So I did the reach out for him and was like, hey,
And it
like
worked out.
you
I
guys
met her
should meet.
there, and yeah, it was excellent. But it's so true. It's not pretty simple, but it's profound that is
no,
this
I mean,
thing that
look,
exists.
yeah, sales has always been about who you know. Jim, do you
Hmm.
know Alan? Yeah, we went to college together. Good. Can
Exactly.
you ask him if he's interested in a new accountant? Oh yeah, you know what, Jim? Thanks for calling. I'm actually looking right now. Cool. So you
Exactly.
introduced me to a good friend of yours. You know him since college that is looking for a new accountant, and I'm an accountant. Like, what better referral than that? And you
Hmm.
should get paid, Jim. You made that. You
Yeah.
basically set that up. Like, get paid. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's it.
This seems so. Is there ever a worry? Because this seems like pretty foolproof. Is there ever a worry that someone would like perhaps abuse this
Uh,
or come into this type of thing and maybe be more greedy? Like, is there anything like
Yeah,
that, like
look,
personality wise?
it's human nature. I'm sure
Right.
out of the
Right.
550 people in our group, I hope you're not listening if you're the one that did it, but I'm sure somebody's been like, Jim, just meet me over at the bar. Here's $500 for that deal. Like, I don't, like, but again,
Hmm.
like, it's you, Jim, introducing me to Alan.
Right.
It's your, and if I don't pay you that commission, you and Alan are going to have beers next week or dinner together and celebrate the new kid and be like, hey, by the way, and your new accountant, Joe, is awesome. Thanks, Jim. And you're gonna be like, and you're in a group, you're like, wait a second, I'm supposed to be getting paid on that.
Yeah.
So we have
Got it.
two ways to solve. Everyone signs a contract when they come on. So any community that comes on, any member that signs up, they sign a pretty lengthy contract that says,
Hmm.
I am going to pay. If I get a deal from this group, I will pay. And then two, when you, Jim, put it in the system and refer Alan to me, I have to accept that in writing that you made that introduction to Alan.
Got it.
Okay.
You got two ways to now. If I wind up not paying you, someone being greedy, look, do I want to lose? Like, so we charge $100 a month to be a member of our community. So for a hundred
Hmm.
Okay.
bucks a month, you have 550 salespeople now for you. 550 incentivized salespeople
Yeah.
that know if they make an introduction, if you lose a business, getting paid. You want to screw that up for $1,000 to save $1,000? Go ahead, go somewhere else. Like you just,
Yeah.
why are you
Good
going to
point.
get, so has it happened? Probably. I don't know. Maybe, like I had a
Hmm.
guy at the beginning when I started this, even before any of this. No, that I was just doing it on my own. And a guy was in the printing agents industry. I knew. I hooked him up with my buddy Todd. And 6 months later, I called him and I was like, "Hey Todd, my brother Brett's back in the printing business. Can you talk to me?" He goes, "Yeah, I've been using your buddy Joe this whole time." I go, wait a second, seriously?
Have you?
Right. So I didn't, and look, karma's a bitch, right? So like as soon as I launched the platform on LinkedIn, I knew the first person who's going to reach out was Joe. He reached out to me. Hey Joe, what's going on? What's your new thing? Oh, I get people like you, printers and marketing people, and I send business to them and they pay a commission. That sounds awesome. I'd love to learn about it. I go, you already did. I sent you card and you never paid me.
Mm,
Well, I don't remember that. And of course, I don't remember that. I got on the phone,
okay, I got no
Right.
recollection.
and
Okay.
it was like, and it was almost like, you know what? It's okay. My brother's got hundreds of thousands of dollars that you didn't get because you saved
Yeah.
whatever you want to save.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're first introducing this concept to people, I mean, was there a pretty quick buy-in on that of people being like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense? Because I mean, like even you explaining it now, I'm like, oh, of course, why would I not want hundreds of people to be referring me to, potential new business or potential opportunity kind of thing? But there's always that like initial phase of like trying to get people on board. Like, were people pretty receptive?
Yeah, well, listen, if you're a connector, you're like, wait a second. You're telling me you're paying me for referrals because everyone that's a good connectors always want to be paid. Like I've always wanted to be. I've sent out thousands and hundreds and millions of dollars worth of deals. I always want to be paid. So those people are like, that's awesome. I've been waiting for
Yeah.
something like this. Now, the other people that don't give out good referrals, right, are okay because like, listen, I'm not good. I don't like selling. I'm like, Alan, if you introduce me, I'm great. I'm happy to pay you. If I could pay you to get me introductions, I love that. I don't have to go out and sell. And it's not a sale, it's an introduction. Jim, who
Hmm.
knows you well, looking for an account. Like it's just an introduction. So everybody loves it. I think the networking groups are pushing back people that run networking groups because they're running a group 200 people and they're getting paid. They pay them $50 a month to be a member of the group, whatever they pay. To go to those people now and say, hey Jim, I know you're in my group, but now you have to pay for referrals. They're afraid to do that, I think, because they're afraid people are going to leave. Wait, I didn't sign up this group to pay referral fees.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like we're pushing connectors get paid. Like I said, I wrote the book. We trademarked connectors get paid. We are saying if you're a connector or in a group, you should be getting paid. So I think eventually, like as we keep signing up every week, we're signing up new networking groups, new alumni associations, all these people. Everyone's going to be like, wait a second, I heard everyone's getting paid for referral.
Right.
So if
Right.
I'm in a group, I'm gonna be like, Alan, I'm in your group. I want to start getting paid. I'm the connector in your group. I'm the guy giving
Yeah.
you referrals. If you don't pay me, I'm gonna go over to Jim's group because their group is paying.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we're looking to change the whole networking world and disrupt
Yeah.
the things. Say,
Yeah.
look, does everyone pay each other? Everyone's willing to do it. Everyone's okay
Yeah.
with a referral fee. Right. If you give me business, I'll pay a fee.
Totally.
Put it
Yeah.
all together and everyone agreed to do it. Let's all
Yeah.
agree to do it. And then you can use Nolodex to track it all. Our
Yeah.
system tracks it all. We don't
Yeah.
change networking as far as relationships and building those relationships and getting. We're just here. The system will track, pay everything out, do your 1099s, handle all the back end of all those
Totally.
transactions. But you're still
Totally.
doing
Yeah.
it, still doing a
Yeah.
human relationship.
I think one of like the best compliments I feel like someone can receive is that they remember people's names and like what they do. It's like a hard thing to do, and I have to imagine that doing this makes you pretty hyper aware of what your network is up to, right? Like
Yeah.
you probably haven't like so it probably sort of naturally works that muscle out of like, wow, I want to remember what Tom and Rich and Frank are, like all these guys are up to, and if I can get them business, like has that been kind of a positive consequence for maybe for like mindsets too and all this
Yeah.
to
A
work
lot
that
of the
out a
members,
little bit?
yeah, a lot of the members always ask me, like, how do you remember everyone and what they do?
Mhm.
So I got that
Yeah.
muscle over there. There's no muscle from the neck down, but up here, there's the muscle up here that
This is
remembers
the
what.
one that counts.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
over here is right there. But yeah, I could talk to somebody, be like, call that person. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like,
Yeah.
listen, I won't remember what I had for breakfast, right? But I'll remember like somebody that did, yeah, I'm looking for somebody that does this. Oh, this is the person you got to talk to. So
Mhm.
it does become like this thing because I love doing it so much. I love connecting people and to get that there's some sort of, something, some endorphin that goes in your head or
No
what
doubt.
say that
No
like
doubt.
it actually makes you feel good when you make a connection in any
Yeah. And
sense, right?
is that the most gratifying part for you is seeing people connected together, or what really keeps you going
Yeah,
in that?
like I just love making connections. Like, right, I
Yeah.
just wrote a movie, and I got connected to this guy that produces movies, and then I'm like, hey, I got a guy that funds movies. You want to meet him? He's like, man, you don't stop, do you? I'm like, no, I just like connecting people. I'm
I
like,
want to keep them
well,
going.
you should make movies. Maybe you'll make mine. Who knows? But I think in the meantime, I should connect you guys. So, it does feel good, right? I got my friend's daughter a job with the governor of New Jersey this summer, an internship. It
Awesome.
was, it was awesome. It changed her whole summer. She was so happy. She was so like, elated that she got the job. She's taking pictures to governor. Like that feels good. Like, right?
Totally.
Then
Totally.
you don't have to get
Yeah.
anything out of it, but you're like, I just helped somebody's
That's
career.
awesome.
So
In the reality of our world now is that, and I'm just thinking about like careers and job paths. Sending in a blank application, people don't get hired by that. You get hired by who you
Yeah.
know. And I think that's like the
Yes.
reality,
Yeah. Yeah.
not only just connecting businesses and people together, but that's a great example of your friend's daughter. Like that, like if she would have applied to that, I'm sure she would have been overlooked. So it's just
Yeah.
one of those things where people don't get jobs by the old fashioned way. It's by doing this. And I think that's so just like it's so critical, and developing something like that will truly make an impact for people's career and their life and their livelihood. I mean, that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a good one. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
for sure. I think one thing too with this is like we've talked a lot about networking and how to,
Mhm.
break the ice on things like that. For people that are maybe less apt to like go up to somebody and approach them and be like, hello, like having that warmer lead of having somebody come in and be like, a middle person and say like, hey, you should talk to whoever. Because like you were saying, that feeling that goes off, that like endorphin that goes off
Mhm.
when you remember somebody and you're like, hey, you should do that. I get that whenever I hear somebody talking to me about a creative project and I'm like, hey, I've heard somebody else doing something similar, when you're immediately like, do you know this person? And they go, oh, I don't know them. Like there is something that fires, and you're immediately like, you guys got to get together somehow. Like I'll introduce you. I love that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
it,
love
if you are somebody that is like, I guess, a little less apt to the traditional route of like meeting somebody at a networking thing or whatever, like, do you have
Mhm.
advice for people if they're trying to get into that world and build up their network kind of thing? Like, what works
Yeah,
for
you
you?
got to use the people in your network, right? We have a woman in the group, and I won't mention her name in case she listens to this, but she was like, "I'm nervous, Joe," right? Because a lot of people, right, like they've never run a business before, right? They were working for someone, like, I'm gonna do this on my own, and now all of a sudden they have to sell, and they're like, "I don't like selling. I'm nervous to call Jim. I don't want to." I said, "Listen, it's not a sale. I know Jim. I know him well. You're part of my network now. I know Jim. I've known him
Mhm.
for 10 years. I'm going to call Jim and ask him if he's interested in your design services." And if he says
Mhm.
yes, I'm just making an introduction to a friend of mine. It's not a sale. It's Jim is looking for something, right? I have a friend right now that's looking for AI services for his company. He's a big agency. I'm introducing people to him. I've known him for 20 years, right? 25 years. He's looking for this person. So you don't have to be nervous. So people are nervous about selling. It's not a sale. So if you're getting into networking, understand your network's here to help you, right?
Hmm.
Everyone's here in these networks to help you, and they're making
Totally.
introductions to someone they know well that's looking for what you want to do. Everyone wants a referral. They want to know
Right.
somebody you recommend, right? You don't go, oh, I want to redo our master bath. Okay, let me look into Google and find a. No, I'm going to go to my neighbor, Roseanne. Hey, you guys' bathroom's awesome. Who'd you? Oh, I used this guy Mike. He was great. And so, yeah, I
Yeah.
would recommend him. You want somebody to do a good job, so I'm
Mhm.
introducing you. Somebody's looking for your service and they trust that I'm giving them somebody good. They want the
Totally.
referral.
Totally.
So it takes that all out. So don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to follow up. I don't want to bother Alan too much. No, so people are busy. Follow up, and make sure when you follow up, use Jim's name. Hey, Alan,
Yeah.
just reminding you, Jim Love, because we get a million emails a day, referred by
Totally.
Jim Love, right? So they remember, oh yeah, this was Jim's friend, right? Just always don't be afraid to use the people's names, because
Yeah. Yeah.
people are, I had my friend Amy, she wanted to talk to a guy in our group, and she's like, Joe, after a couple months, she was traveling so much. She's like, if I don't see your name on it, Joe, I get a million emails. I just let it go by.
I
But
just like,
connect with
yeah,
people.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think about that's how I got the job I'm in now is from a referral of my sister 8 years ago. Knew a guy who's a hiring manager, and here we are. So it's true, and you got to
Yeah,
keep up with them. But I really like your point, Joe, about like it's not a sale. Like people want to connect with people, and
yeah,
they want to connect with people that trust their mutual friends. That's really what it comes down to. And the worst that happens, it's another conversation to have. It may not, that's really it, and you get to know someone a little bit, and you go. But I think that's a really powerful thing. When people can
right.
connect with each
And
other, and it's no frills, no pressure. It's like, here you go, this is someone I know, and
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
someone you like, right? Because look,
exactly.
you're in your network. People are going
Hmm.
to gravitate towards people that they like, right? We have 550 people. Do you think everyone in the network likes each other? Do you think everyone likes me? Probably it's probably people that hate me that I run my net, right? But like just use personality. So when I'm introducing my friend, I'm like, hey, this is another person that we would go have a beer with, right? You're gonna like this person,
Right.
right? So like it's just I met my friends in Australia right now. And I met this guy from Australia yesterday. I'm like, Jenny, you got to meet this guy. He's really cool. You guys would hit it off. And there was no
Hmm.
business, no connection. I'm just like, you're both there. You guys got to hit it. We
You could
work
do
as
it.
CEOs. Like, you guys should just
Yeah.
talk, like you were
Yeah.
saying before,
Yeah.
Alan. And she's like, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk to him. So I connected those people. But It's just
That's
a
great.
person that I know she would love, right? So
Right.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think you actually you kind of backed into the elephant in the room on some things too, right? Like obviously everything is shifting to the AI of it all and figuring out, they're gonna automate some things for you, right? But like now people are gonna want that human connection just a little bit more because they're not gonna want, hey, the algorithm sent me this person on LinkedIn that I should know, or seven other
Yeah.
people that saw your profile and they like you or whatever. Like you are gonna want the like, hey, Joe referred me to this guy because you're
Yeah.
gonna trust that more too, which I think so. It has actually a very great time for like human connection, considering that
yeah,
everything is going that opposite direction right now. Like eventually there's going to be that pushback of saying like I want
Mhm.
somebody that knows me or at least knows somebody I know.
yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I was riding a car. I'm like, this AI bullshit, like it works, right? I was like,
Mhm.
I know you're a music, Alan. I write music. I wrote 2 albums. I can't play, so I've been using Suno to do like demos of
Sure.
it. It's awesome, right? There's not AI is incredible what it does, but it's never going to stop you from getting sales. Like it's never going to
Right.
do the sale for you, right? And everyone's relying too much. Let AI do my work, and then they're sitting back like AI will get me sales. No, you have to
Mhm.
build relationships with people.
Right.
Start remembering my
Sure.
best client when I had my marketing agency, Jack Gonzalez. You know how I got Jack Gonzalez? By going to lunch with him for about 6 months. And we weren't talking about business at all. He was in a division of the company I was working. I'm one of my clients. And we went and had lunch. We had a bunch of drinks for lunch. He taught me how to do the liquid lunch. And every time I went to their office, he'd be like, want to grab lunch? Me and Jack hit it off. Jack was 65. I was 25. And we
Yeah.
became like, he's still like, I still talk, he's in my book. Like I still talk to him now. He's 95 years old, right? And I still talk to him, but we were friends and we never talked about business for about
That's
6 months. And one day at lunch, he's like, you want to quote a project for me? I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. And it became my biggest client and
There you go.
never would even entertain using someone else after that for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that's huge. It becomes loyalty
Yeah.
after that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you've got the book, we've got Nolodex, we got all sorts of amazing things happening for you. What is kind of the immediate future holding for you as far as things go? I mean, the book's available everywhere, I'm sure, but is that kind of the main focus right now?
No, the main focus is getting the word out about connectors get paid. Like we just want to jam that
Mhm.
down people's throats and say, let's all start paying each other. Use that mantra in your life and your business. Be like, hey, I got a valuable network. I'll open it up to you, but I want to get paid. And again, we're really focused really on Nolodex and getting that out to all these again alumni. So like, do you guys do
Mhm.
business with other people at Marquette? Like you should be, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Probably
Yeah.
not. Like there's all these alumni, right? There's all these fraternity and sorority alumni, chambers of commerce, like everyone that's got these groups and they're all having trouble engaging their members, right? How do we get our members to engage? Well, guess what? How about a monetary incentive to help them get engaged, right? So that's
Sure.
what yeah, that's what we're working on now, getting Nolodex out there, and then yeah, personally, I'm moving on to some other projects as well. Like I'm always doing some side creative projects. So my side hustle to my side hustle, right? So
Always. Yeah.
Amen to
I love
that. Amen to
it.
that. The side hustle to the side hustle.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and doing this.
Yeah.
And where's the best place, I guess, to connect with you?
yeah, so I mean, look, if anyone's interested, Joe at Nolodex.com is my email. If you want to see a demo of the platform, if you want to go to Nolodex.com, you could see a little bit of what's going on there, or hit me up on LinkedIn, Joe Mindak. I'm right on there, and hit me up. Happy to talk to anyone. So
Awesome.
we want to just keep showing what we're doing and showing that this is going to change the way networking's done.
For sure. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. Thank you for
Yeah, it's been
doing
fun.
that. And if you are listening for the first time, we are the Hustling Sideways podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the things. Just look for Hustling Sideways and you can be there. If you want to join me in this room with Jim once he gets back from maternity leave, or paternity leave, I guess it would be for you. And you can do that. Send us an email. It is hustlingsideways@gmail.com. And Jim,
Keep on hustling.
we'll see you next week.
Peace.